Bay Area, it's Joe Shasky. You know you can check out me and Bonte Hill every single morning, 6 to 9 a.m., the Morning Roast on 95.7 The Game. Now we go back to Willard and Dibbs. And Dan Dibley, the Jockberty champion of all time. You hear that, Bonte? Here on 95.7 The Game.
No.
Well said, Joe.
Not the Jockberty champion of all time, the Brock Purdy champion of all time.
That might be Bonte.
Change it.
We're going to talk to the Brock Purdy champion of all time coming up, Adam Snyder.
Yeah, although Larry Kruger's trying. Remember preseason? Larry Kruger, I believe, watched.
I believe that we will Krug.
I believe he took a shower after the game yesterday.
Oh, that was so good.
He's been waiting. He's been waiting for the Brock Purdy era to begin. And so here we are.
I feel Purdy. Oh, so Purdy.
The other thing is, and I told Ephraim this, and I told some friends this and family this last night, like I'm already sick of the Purdy puns. Are you not? It's like it's too,
I had one early and I'm
too
done.
easy. No, you can use them. It's too easy. It's hard not to. But my gosh, it's going to.
I thought mine was great. The Niners went from Pretty, Jimmy G, to Purdy, and they didn't miss a beat.
That's good. See, that's actually thoughtful. If somebody's just like, man, that Jimmy injury, not Purdy, too easy. Too easy. If you're going to do your Purdy pun, make sure it hasn't been used 100 times already the first hour.
Yeah.
All right, we're going to go to the calls.
Let's go to the phones.
Justin Verlander to
the Giants?
The New York Metropolitans, 2 years, $86 million.
Wow. If you think about 34 starts, which is about the maximum you can make in a baseball season, 34 starts, $43 million per year. That's about $1.2 million per start. And you know what?
If you make them.
He's worth every penny.
He has been.
Best pitcher of his generation.
Listen, if you're going to come to the starting pitching party, you better bring your checkbook. If Jake DeGrom, who doesn't pitch very often, is going to get 5 years and $185 million at age 34, good grief. Man, you want Kodai Senga or whatever? I mean, you're going to have to bring your checkbook, okay?
I love it when you drop a Kodai Senga.
Oh, yeah.
So what's Carlos Rodon going to get?
5 years and $800 million.
Seriously.
So bring your checkbook.
Verlander, first ballot Hall of Famer, without a doubt. And we can touch briefly on the Barry Bonds failed Hall of Fame bid, part 11.
Seriously.
I mean, he got fewer than 4 votes, and hopefully at some point we'll see if he got more than 1 vote. We know Susan Slusser of the Chronicle probably voted for him.
She had to. I mean, she voted for him in the regular vote.
She didn't have to, but odds are.
Why was
I would
it
put it
changed?
at 99.9% chance that she did. But man,
might have been the only one.
Bonds denied again.
Back to Purdy, Redwood Dave. Hello, Redwood Dave. You are on with Willard and Dibbs. What are you doing?
Just working and listening to you guys. And at first I was disappointed when Jimmy G went down, but then just pure adulation when Purdy came in and did really well. It's very similar to when, like you had stated, Drew Bledsoe went out, Tom Brady came in, Trent Green went down with a knee injury, Kurt Warner came in, led both of those teams to Super Bowls. So until it isn't, it is. We just got to support him, and we have the great possibility to go all the way.
You know, it's interesting, Dave. I think, did he just, until it isn't, it is. Except for I could just as easily flip that, right? Until it is, it isn't.
Right.
And so I just want to do that with Brock Purdy. It's going to be hard to thread the needle, but let's try, Dibbs. Because you're going to get people, oh, yeah, we can still win the Super Bowl. And then you're going to get the person who's like, are you nuts? It's Brock Purdy.
I think you can still win the Super Bowl.
I'm going to say it this way. I have no idea. And I'm here for Tampa Bay. Because
you going Steiny on me right now? Are you on the fence?
I'm not on the fence. Okay. There's no fence. We've seen 3.
There is no fence.
We've watched 3 quarters of football.
And I like what I've seen.
Yes, I do too. But how are we making judgments on 3 quarters of football? That is by definition irrational.
I'm making judgment on 12 games of football, and I'm going to refer to my earlier statement that you didn't love, Mark. You didn't love it when I said it then.
What did you say?
I said that I think that Jimmy Garoppolo is maybe the 5th or 6th most important player on this offense. And so
I didn't like it. I still
you take
don't.
Jimmy G out. you put Brock Purdy in, and I believe it even more than ever before because you have Trent Williams, George Kittle, Deebo Samuel, Christian McCaffrey. These players, to me, are more important for what Kyle Shanahan and company try to do. So you take Jimmy out and you bring Brock in. And so for me, you're not losing Patrick Mahomes or Josh Allen, the most important player on your offense.
I agree with that, but here's the flip side to it. By definition, I don't think the quarterback can be the sixth most important player on a football team. They've got the ball on every single play, and they've got to make decisions and do things. You can talk about McCaffrey, you can talk about Williams, Deebo, and Ayuk. They all mean nothing if things are not on time, things are not under control, things are not handled, okay? Yeah, we're not talking about star quarterbacks. We're talking about Purdy and Garoppolo.
Game managers.
That's derogatory. But the point is, you gotta handle your business.
You do. And
those guys, Garoppolo is a business handler. Purdy looked like one yesterday. ... And that's where we sit.
Exactly.
We're ... There's no fill in that blank. I don't know.
The blank gets filled in over time.
Now,
you got 5 games to fill in that blank and hopefully playoffs as well.
The optimist in me can go around the league and make this point. You don't know where your good quarterbacks are coming from. Jim Mora, you think you know, but you don't know.
And you never will.
You think you know that they all come from the top 5 picks in the draft. They don't. Even if I give you a Josh Allen and a Patrick Mahomes early first-round picks, but not the first quarterbacks in their draft. Allen wasn't even the second. I don't even think he was the third. Was he the third? I think he was the fourth. I mean, if you, in this day and age, aren't a top 3 pick as a quarterback, there are people who have questions about you. No doubt about it. But then go even further. Lamar Jackson, barely a first-rounder. Okay? Tua, top-rated quarterback in the league. That was not, I mean...
Is he still? Oh, boy, after that stink bomb.
Great point. Okay? But go up and down. Jalen Hurts, this is not someone that people were like, oh, my gosh, this is going to be the future. Forget what you're seeing right now for Russell Wilson, but go back to what you saw for years in Seattle. That's a third-round draft pick. Dak Prescott, what was he? 5th, 6th-round draft pick, 4th
We'll just
round,
take the 2018 draft that you were referencing as a great example. Baker Mayfield goes number 1 overall. He's going to be on to his 3rd team. He's done nothing. Sam Darnold goes number 3 overall, and he's on his 2nd team, and he's on his way out of that team. Josh Rosen went number 10 in that draft.
Right behind Josh Allen, right.
Josh Allen went number 7. Yep. Is Josh Rosen even in the league right now? Is he somebody's...
He got signed to someone's practice squad.
I couldn't even tell you.
Yeah, I'll look it up.
And then you go all the way to the end of that first round. A guy by the name of Lamar Jackson goes number 32 to Baltimore.
And there's your other star.
But to your point, you had Darnold and Rosen, both basically busts, and you had Baker Mayfield, who is a bust, number 1 overall. 2 other quarterbacks have done well. It is a bit of a crapshoot.
Josh Rosen is a free agent. Josh Rosen, who knows? He might be a 49er here in about an hour because he's been, quote unquote, in the system. Yeah, but anyway, let me keep going. Kirk Cousins, this was not somebody who everyone was like, oh my gosh, that's our guy. In fact, he was drafted in the same team, same draft behind RG3. Tom Brady, who's coming in here next. Okay, you can go up and down the league, and yes, there are definitely star quarterbacks who got picked top 10, and then there are plenty who didn't.
Right.
You don't know where your guys are coming from. It would be an unbelievable story and very unlikely that Mr. Freaking Irrelevant turns into a thing. But I'm not going to sit here and say I know that he's not just because of the labels that we placed on him and said, no, you can't play. You're a 7th rounder. And act like that hasn't been wrong 100 times before in the history of the league.
And we also have seen over the course of Super Bowl champions, quarterbacks who have this sort of similar resume, guys who were just the guy, not him, as Kyle likes to say, because he's not him. You've got Brad Johnson, who wasn't much of a quarterback, but he joined, wait for it, an elite defense.
Bingo.
With, wait for it, an amazing coach at the time, John Gruden, and he caught lightning in a bottle, and they ran the table. Trent Dilfer is the great example, and you're going to get Dilfered to death over the course of the next 5 weeks as the Niners try to emulate Trent Dilfer. Dilfer was just a guy with an elite defense and a good head coach in Brian Billick, and they were able to, wait for it, run the table. So you've got a situation here with a great head coach. We all have faith in Kyle Shanahan, a ton of talent around him, an elite defense, which, by the way, they gave up a touchdown after halftime yesterday, and I have to check. I don't think DeMeco Ryans was fired, but he should be on the hot seat, Mark.
He shouldn't be on the 49ers next year
They've
because
given
he
up
should be
7 points in the last 5 games.
Unbelievable. Unbelievable. And it was because Hufanga took a step forward in the wrong direction. And I'm never going to get mad at any corner because they can't run with Tyreek Hill. Mooney Ward did a solid enough. He did what he needed to do yesterday. Tyreek can go for 9 and $150 when Jalen Waddle goes 1 for 9. Tua was high. He was uncomfortable.
Yeah, he was.
I don't mean he was actually high.
I don't give a damn how high you get.
I don't know that he. Well, 20 years from now, we'll see the in-depth story. Maybe he was.
Yeah, he was like my college roommate all game long, Mark. High and late.
Yeah, I've been smoking some pot.
Yeah, he was high on throws. He was late on throws. He was high and late.
Listen, I like your Brad Johnson and your Trent Dilfer, but let me take it a step further. If what you're hoping for, the story you're hoping for with Brock Purdy is actually the story of Brady, Hostetler, and Foles. What do they all have in common? Okay? Because I know Brady turned into a thing, and Hostetler sort of turned into a thing, and Foles very much did not turn into a thing. But it should give you hope because the one thing they all had in common is what you just said. They walked in mid-year and joined a team with a very good defense, if not a great defense, a very well-respected coach, a staff, team around that player that was very good and clicking in all directions. And so when you do that, your quarterback is not asked to go be a star. You're not asking Brock Purdy to go be a star to win a Super Bowl. You're asking Brock Purdy to be a business handler, which is what Jimmy was. So I don't know if he can be Jimmy. He looked kind of like him yesterday. So we'll see. Steve,
handle your business. I like that.
Handle your business. Steve in Manhattan, Kansas is next up on Willie and Dibby. Hi, Steve. What are you doing?
Actually, I'm just hanging out, listening to you guys.
Just hanging out. Beautiful. What do you got?
Yeah, I know. So, all right. So I've been able to watch him. I'm at Kansas State. I've been able to watch Purdy for the last couple of years, and I thought he was the best quarterback in the Big 12, even though we had Heisman Trophy winners from Oklahoma. I don't know if Iowa State had the best offense to support what he had, but he was the best quarterback that I feared so much. He is so talented, and you guys are so lucky to have him. He is a strong quarterback.
Now, why would you fear Brock Purdy more than? And listen. Who was there at the same time? You're saying at times Jalen Hurts, at times Kyler Murray? You feared Brock Purdy more than that?
Yes, yeah, and even yeah.
No.
And Baker. So,
well,
he was a really strong. I feared him so much. He had the arm talent and he had the ability to run. I thought he was the best quarterback in the Big 12 through like the last 3-4 years, and I just think that Oklahoma had a better offense.
Well, sure, they got more around him.
But
yeah, Steve, thanks. This is interesting now because
Steve.
Well, imagine Brock Purdy now joining a 49er team that is one of the best rosters in the NFL. That's not arguable, right? And imagine what he was doing before. So this is one of the reasons why we want to dive a little deeper on the past of Brock Purdy. I'll be the first to raise my hand. I probably watched him 1.5 times in college.
Oh, I saw every snap.
He played at Iowa State.
I didn't miss a play, Mark.
Well, okay.
It's what we do in Sports Talk Radio.
So lay it out for me. What'd you think?
I thought that he had, what'd the caller say?
Yeah, arm talent. And arm talent.
He doesn't have a ton of arm talent, by the way.
But
you got to put
your 2 fingers on the side of your headset like you're recording We Are the World or
totally.
something. Right.
There are children
Do
dying.
they know it's Christmas? Oh, gosh.
And
that
it's
was
time
amazing.
to lend a hand for life. The greatest gift of all. We Thank God, Brock Purdy.
Right.
Oh, yeah, Mark. Great arm talent. Not a lot of size.
goodness.
Not a great ton of measurables. You got to talk about arm talent, measurables, mobility.
But is this
he
fair?
He can see the field.
Okay, is this fair,
is such
though?
a bunch of crap.
Maybe, but you know college sports. You're not dealing with fair rosters.
Right.
When Alabama plays Vanderbilt, you can't go, well, they're both in the SEC. Like, whoever's quarterbacking Vanderbilt is working with a worse player at every position when that player goes against
Better
Alabama.
student, though, at Vandy. Tough school to get into.
Smata. But anyway,
Thank you.
Point is if you're at Iowa State, your offensive line is outmanned by Michigan and whoever else you're playing by Oklahoma. Your wide receivers are outmanned. Your running back outmanned. Brock Purdy joining the 49ers, playing at Iowa State would be like playing for Houston right now. I'm a young quarterback, and I'm on the Texans. What am I supposed to do here? We don't even know who the receivers are. We don't, good. We got a young running back. So maybe this changes the calculus for Brock Purdy because he's got the better player at the positions in front of him helping him out.
Yes, and he's got the better coach. I'm not to disparage the great coaching at Iowa State, but you've got Kyle Shanahan, and the fact that he's been there all year and the injury happens now. Think about if Jimmy Garoppolo had gone elsewhere and Trey Lance would have gotten hurt when Trey Lance got hurt and Brock Purdy got thrown in when Jimmy G got thrown in. Might have been a different learning curve for Brock Purdy not having been around the system the entire year as he was. But we've all talked about the other comps, Brad Johnson, Trent Dilfer. I just was looking at the Jeff Hostetler 1990 year with the New York Giants. They're 11-3. They lose to Buffalo. Phil Simms gets hurt. Hostetler was 29 years old, but he only made one start in his NFL career. This was back in the day where, you had a backup and he didn't play for years and years and years. Hostetler comes out. They beat the Cardinals 24-21. Then they win 13-10 over New England.
Yep.
You go to the playoffs. You win 31-3. Hello, nasty defense.
Yep.
They beat the Niners 15-13 in the NFC Championship game.
To stop it.
And then they beat the Bills 20-19. Point being, that Giant team had such a nasty defense. They had a decent amount of offensive weapons, and he came in and game managed his way to a Super Bowl.
So here's the way to say the statement, because I keep hearing it from people, seeing it a lot on the YouTube feed. Brock Purdy's not winning the Super Bowl. That's not what anyone's asking him to do. Can the 49ers win the Super Bowl?
Right.
That's your question. Because I know we do this. Well, Nick Foles won the Super Bowl. And actually, that was a high-scoring game. Foles did amazing things. But Philly special, defensive plays here and there. The Jeff Hostetler story, even Tom Brady when he was a young player and got thrown in. If I'm remembering correctly, was the final score of Brady's first Super Bowl 20-17? This was a low-scoring game. Brock Purdy does not have to go star for a playoff team. The 49ers need to be a playoff team, and he needs to not mess that up. And I don't know if he might. He might mess it up. I don't know. But yesterday, at minimum, encouraging. That's all I can say about this right now. We've seen 3 quarters.
Yes, and the one thing that you need Brock Purdy to do that he did yesterday was not give the ball to the other team. He had the one interception, fourth down throw.
It was a good pick.
It was a great pick.
The Dolphins should have dropped it. It would have gained him 25 yards.
Right, but on a throw like that,
I know.
It's either, you make that throw, you try to make that play, or you give the ball over on down. So that's one that I'm not going to totally discount in terms of, that was a terrible throw. It was a risky throw, but they went for it on fourth down, which tells me the coaching staff has a good amount of faith in Brock Purdy to even let him try that as opposed to try to pooch one down there and pin the team deep.
The hot route to George Kittle over the middle. Holy smokes. I mean, that's when you knew you're like, okay, I don't know if this kid's a great player, but he is composed. Wow, he is composed.
He's got moxie.
No joke. Hey, speaking of moxie, Jonathan in San Francisco with Willard and Dibbs. Jonathan, what are you doing?
What are you singing?
Just fixing the mail to word to get it delivered to the people. I just want to say, man, very crushed, for what happened to Jimmy. All the best, Jimmy. No doubt your team's going to be fighting for you. But yeah, like you guys alluded to earlier, man, very encouraged from what I see, from what I've seen from Brock so far. See, that guy's a gamer. You know, just like Anthony Lamb's a gamer. You know, certain guys, you look at their measurables, no good, you know. But when you put them on games, they're gamers. So fight on, you know, just, hey, this is a run-first team, and they're led by their defense. The key for the 49ers is to get Kinlaw back. We get that guy back, and you see the effect of Armstead, right, having that push in the middle. Man, that led to Bosa having 3 sacks. So this team is going to go as far as the defense takes them, because defense wins championship. But Brock, man, you're rock, bro. Hey, fight for your life to party.
Thank you, Jonathan. Little Beastie Boys at the tail end.
Which is always good.
And yeah, I would hold off on using any fight on references after they gagged away a 17-3 lead.
Wow.
There are very few teams that I delight in their failure more than da 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 you lose da 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 Cotton Bowl. Gone.
Popped hamstring, and college football is a joke with how they handle that situation. Ohio State sits with Ugg boots on and ends up now playing for a national championship. Also stupid, but I'm with you. USC is still waiting for their first good tackle on the defensive side of the ball. They've played 13 games. I haven't seen one yet.
Right.
Incredible. Worst tackling I've ever seen in the history of football.
Not since they had Hufanga?
Jeez.